Alright, so in this lecture we're going to learn how to deploy software with group policy. Now you might get a task where you'll be asked to deploy Adobe Reader or Java or the latest version of Flash, and you won't want to go around and install it to each workstation manually, so you'll want to deploy it with group policy, which is something that you can do. One thing to keep in mind is that it has to be an MSI, so it can't be an executable file, okay? So whatever we're deploying has to be in the MSI format. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go on our host machine, so not on a virtual machine. I am not inside any of my virtual machines. This is the physical host because our virtual machines don't have internet access. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Bing and we're going to type in Adobe Flash MSI and MSI download. That's fine. So we'll click this first link here. Okay, so right here we can see Flash Player version 20 and it's .0.0228. So this is for Internet Explorer, and we can download the executable MSI or the SCCM config manager catalog. So what we want to do is go ahead and download the MSI of this plugin based browser. I'm just picking one. You could pick either one of these. So I'm going to right click, or I'm actually going to left click on it, and I'm going to do save as, and I'm going to save it there. Okay, so we'll wait for this to download. Alright, so it looks like the download is complete, so I'm going to click close here. I'm going to close out of my web browser. I'm going to bring up Oracle VirtualBox. And why is it not coming up? There we go. So I'm going to go to my domain controller because that's where we map the shared drive. And I'm going to click on Windows Explorer and we'll go to the F drive. And here's the MSI. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to go to Data, Group Policy, and we're going to call this, we're going to make a new folder and we're going to call MSI. Okay, and we'll paste it inside of here. So now we're going to open Server Manager. We're going to select Tools, Group Policy Management. And I'm going to create a new group policy object, and we're going to call this Install Software. Okay, and we're going to right click and select Edit. We're going to go under Computer Configuration, Policies, Software Settings, and Software Installation. And we'll right click, say New Package. And we're going to go to WDC 111, go to Group Policy, MSI, and select our MSI right here. We'll select Open, and we're going to leave it as assigned. Okay, so there we go. So now this software is assigned to our domain. Now, every computer that's underneath this wudemy.local will get this software, but we don't necessarily want that. So what we want to do is go ahead and open Active Directory users and computers, and we don't want this software to install on the domain controller. There's no reason for us to have Flash on the domain controller. So we're going to create a new, we have a container here with computers and that has our workstation. We're going to create an OU and we'll call it Managed Computers. Managed Computers. Okay, and we're going to move this computer inside of this OU. Say yes. And in Group Policy, we're going to right click on Installed Software. We're going to unenable the link. And we're just going to click Delete. And we're going to click on Managed. Let's hit refresh, F5. We might have to reopen this. There it is. So right click and say List Existing GPO, and we'll click Install Software. Okay? So now we have Managed Computers, Install Software, and if we go under Active Directory, Managed Computers, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? There you are. And we have our workstation inside. So this workstation should get this policy. So let's go ahead and switch over to our Windows 10 workstation. We're already logged in. So I'm going to open Command Prompt. I'm going to run gp update/force. This is going to force a refresh of our policy. Okay, so it says the group policy was updated successfully, but it says the client was unable to apply one or more settings because it must be done before startup. This is normal. So what you want to say is yes, go ahead and restart. So press Y and enter, and it's going to reboot the machine. And I'm not going to wait a minute. I'm just going to do restart/T0. Oh, shutdown. I'm going to type, I'm sorry, that's shutdown/R/T0. There we go. And that'll force it to restart right away. Of course, you can always just click power and then restart it that way. Okay, so right now it should be getting the policy and installing the software at this point. So this should take a little bit longer than it normally does. Okay, so let's go ahead and log in. Now, when we applied this group policy object, we applied it to the computer configuration, not under user configuration. So we don't need to test this for each user. We just need to see if it's installed and all. And I will kind of clarify that after we check this. So click on settings. And we're just going to say uninstall program. And it'll pop up with what we need. Add or remove programs. That's the one we want. Add or remove programs. And there we can see Adobe Flash Player 20 NP API. That's the MSI that we had deployed. So you can see that it was installed today on 12/11. Okay? So that's how you deploy an MSI to a domain. So every computer, if we had 100 computers on this domain, once the policy was refreshed and the computer rebooted, this software would be installed. Okay, so you can do that versus going to each of the 100 computers and installing it manually. Now let me clarify. The reason why we don't need to test this on the other user account is that when we were under group policy, we didn't set software installed per user. So, and I'll explain what I mean here in a second. So, install software. We were under computer configuration, not user configuration. Okay, so you can install software just for certain users under this user configuration, but we went ahead and said computer configuration. So that's deployed to the computer, and this would be deployed to either B. Guten or Eddie Barboza, one or the other. Okay, so that is how you use group policy to deploy software to a domain. I'll see you in the next lecture.